from the Horseshoe Council Bluffs parking garage. Before I get into the bulk of today's video, I do want to point out that recently, February 4th, first Tuesday of the month, I published February's edition of the newsletter. So here's the table of contents, and if you want me to zoom in to make it easier to read, there is the zoomed in table of contents, a lot of recurring segments, but also I had a request for some tips, strategies on nomadic living. So I included some things I did, some things I think about, some things to make it efficient to move between locations, to make it to make things and life very portable, things like that. So a few of my nomadic tips are in this issue. There will definitely be some in March's issue and maybe even in April's. Haven't planned out the next issues yet, but if you want to read that issue of the newsletter and you're not a Patreon member, there will be instructions at the end of the video for how to get to my Patreon page. But today, the bulk of the video, the GPI, the Global Poker Index. Yeah, it's probably going to be the title. I haven't made the title yet, but probably my apologies to the Global Poker Index. So, this is how it started. Not that long ago, Sean McCormick, who used to run the room at Aria, and he is now in charge of like all MGM poker in the country. I don't know the exact title. He posted on Twitter that the Aria Poker Room was a finalist in the GPI Awards for Best Room in the World. Awesome. I mean, now that Sahara doesn't exist anymore, I don't really think it's all that impressive to win that award, but all right. So, saw that tweet, and then I went to the GPI page and just looked at all the categories, all the nominations. Thought I was looking at all the nominations. I was looking at all the finalists, and I was wondering why in 3 years I haven't been nominated for anything. Actually read the rules eventually on how nominations and voting works. It was unbelievably complicated and long, and I don't even understand it all, but regardless of that, I thought I had not been nominated for anything because I was never notified from the GPI. I remember years ago, Bike King, who very well may be like the second in this genre, Troopers First, he came along shortly after, and we actually played together at Westgate not too long ago. He went to the awards. He was a finalist in some category. He was in Vegas at the time. I think the award ceremony was in Southern California, and he drove there, and he went to the awards, and I watched that video. I thought if you were nominated at any time, you would be notified that you were nominated, because if you become a finalist and get into that final round of voting, you would be invited. And it's not that everyone in the poker world lives in Southern California or Vegas. Those are two easy locations to get to Southern California, whatever address exactly the award ceremony happens. You might be living on the East Coast, you might be like in Texas, you might be in the Midwest, and I wouldn't think that it's like they're telling you on short notice, hey, you're a finalist, like fly into Southern California if you want to go. I thought they would give you the most time possible, so I thought they would tell you if you were nominated even very early on, and since I had never been notified, I thought I wasn't nominated for anything. There's like best vlogger, there's like best video content, there are like 4 that are pretty similar that I thought I would fit into if anyone nominated me. Apparently I was, because a viewer and Patreon member told me that I was, and he even voted for me. Thanks for the vote. And I just didn't make it to the final round. So my apologies to GPI, because I said something on Twitter about I thought I was never nominated at any level for any category. That wasn't true. And yeah, I don't really keep track from the beginning. I don't know when it starts, but usually when it gets pretty close, I start seeing like DePaulo tweets or like Sean McCormick tweets or something like that. And I usually see the final 4, it's like 4 or 5 in each category are the finalists, and then there's a vote. And then the day of the award ceremony, somebody wins. So, cool that I was nominated. I don't know what category exactly. It must have been either like best vlogger or like new up and coming vlogger, something like that. But yeah, so that's cool. And that would be interesting. The thing is, if I ever got to a final category, It would probably be tough if it's in February to get there. If I'm planning on only getting to Vegas in mid-March, if I were in Vegas, I would go. If I were in California, I would go. I might even make it like a California trip out of it. If I were in Vegas, I might go there, go to the awards, and then like the week before or the week after, play Southern California and meet up with Herbs and Rye and play the same poker rooms. But man, if I'm in like Council Bluffs or like Illinois or Atlantic City, it'd be really tough to make it out there. But anyway, just wanted to clear up. I know not many people follow me on Twitter. I don't even post a lot of poker stuff on Twitter. When I'm in Vegas, it's a fair amount of poker, casino, gaming, restaurant type of content. When I'm not in Vegas, most of my Twitter account is just like baseball. So not that many people follow me on Twitter, but a few people saw that, and I wanted to clear up what I said. That's going to be the end of today's video. And new outro. If you would like to be seeing the newsletters on my Patreon page and you don't know how to navigate there. Glad you enjoyed the video. If you would like even more poker, travel, and Las Vegas content, feel free to go to my Patreon page. There are 3 ways to get there. One is to type the URL that you've been seeing at the bottom of the screen into your browser. A second way is if you go to my YouTube homepage, next to my icon picture, there is a link to my Patreon page. The third way is to watch any video of mine, go into the description box below the video, and you'll see the link to my Patreon page. Once you're on my Patreon homepage, you could click on membership and you could sign up to be a paid member. The first 7 days are free. It's $5 a month after that. In addition to the free post every Monday, you will have access to the exclusive newsletter published on the first Tuesday of every month. It's a monthly newsletter. Or you could go back to my Patreon homepage and you could just click on shop. If there's a table of contents that you find very interesting that I show at the beginning of a video and you just want to read that one newsletter, you could go to my Patreon homepage, click on shop, and each newsletter is individually available for a one-time purchase for $7. Thanks everybody for supporting the brand.